Hello! Nice to see you all. I'm going to do a short video today. It's like an assembly, I suppose. I'm going to try and do an assembly, but I hope everybody is well. I hope you are not getting too bored. Hopefully this assembly might inspire you to look out the window or go into the open space that's near you and have a look at the sky. Anyway, so it's an assembly. It's going to try and be a bit like assemblies in school, so I'm going to start it in the same way. Okay. Over to the assembly. So, can you remember the R-bots? R1, the first one, reflectiveness. R2 is resilience. R3, resourcefulness. And R4 is reciprocity. Okay, so we're going to focus today on R2, which is resilience. And what is resilience? Well, resilience is being able to focus on what you're doing. It's locking onto your learning, making sure that you enjoy what you're doing, making sure that you stay focused and don't let anybody interrupt you. Noticing it, really making sure that you're thinking about what's going on. And when it is hard and when things are tough, you persevere, you get yourself back up again and you carry on. Okay, so we're going to be thinking about that today, but we're not going to be thinking about that in humans. We're going to be thinking about that in the natural world. So there's a few things popping up now. So we've got some pictures. So we've got a swift, we've got a robin, we've got a crow, and we've got an eagle. So my question to you is, which one do you think is the odd one out and why? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Ooh, have a ponder. I've got to be honest, it's a bit of a trick question really, because you could choose any if you've got a good reason. So you could say the robin redbreast is the odd one out because it's got a nice red breast. It's a bit orangey in this photo. You might say that the golden eagle is the odd one out because it's a lot bigger than all the others. Or you might say that the golden eagle is the odd one out because it's the only raptor or bird of prey. The odd one out that I want to talk about today is the swift. And the swift is the one in the top left corner. And swifts are amazing birds, and we'll come on to that in a moment. But the reason it's the odd one out here is because swifts only land on the ground to breed and lay their eggs. Other than that, they stay in the air the entire time. So, the swift is the sign of the summer. And you look in the skies at the moment, and you will see swifts. Where Kingswood is, there are lots of swift colonies. And at the school at the moment, when I look outside and I look to the skies, I can see and I can hear the swift. So here are some pictures of some swifts, and you can see them doing different things. The photos of them on the ground, they're quite, landed, are quite unusual because you don't often see swifts like that. The majority of the time you'll see swifts high in the sky. But what you will hear is you will hear their sound. And if you listen carefully, you will be able to hear that sound in a moment. And they sound like this. So it's a high-pitched noise. They are sometimes called the devil bird because it sounds a bit like screaming. Also, they tend to nest in buildings and churches, so you'd see them flying over church grounds screaming. And so that's why they got a bit of a reputation as the devil bird. But that sound is the sound of the summer. And often when I'm watching television programmes, if it's a summer scene, then you can sometimes hear swifts in the background. But at the moment, you can really hear the swifts out and about, and you can see them out and about around Bristol. Okay, so the swift is its common name, its Latin name. All animals, all plants have got Latin names, and it's called Apus apus. And there's different sorts of swift. In this country, we have the common swift. It's quite, as you can see, it's not a tiny bird. They're quite a good-sized bird. And they are really attractive. They've got very sharp wings, and they're amazing flyers. So swifts will spend the majority of their lives on the wing. They think that they fly millions of miles in their lifetimes. It's very difficult to know, of course, because it's quite difficult to measure, but they live up to 20 years. So in Britain, they normally return round about May the 5th, and this was true this year. It was round about May the 5th. And as you can see from the map, they migrate between the UK and Central Africa. So they spend the winter in the tropical rainforests of Central Africa. And then come May, they fly their way back up, fly their way north to Northern Europe, and that's where they nest and have their babies. So in the UK, briefly, the majority of their time they spend in different countries. But they are incredible birds, and they fly all this way. And if you have a look at the map, it does show where they've flown and then their return. So they'll stay here for May, June, July, and then August. They start end of July, August. You won't see them again until next year. So they're not here for very long. The swift itself, it's an incredibly resilient bird. So as I say, they spend all this time on the wing. They build nests, but of course they don't land on the ground to collect nest material. They collect the nest material like they do, like they collect their food. They collect it from the air. So they fly around with their mouths open, catching bits of dust, feathers, fluff, bits of hair, and they use that to make their nests. So their nests aren't made of twigs. They're made out of things that they can find in the sky. So they'll build this nest, and then they will hatch. They will lay their egg, and they will look after that egg. And then swift babies, they stay. They take a little bit longer than normal birds to be ready to fly, because of course when a swift flies, that's it. They're not going to land again for at least another year and a half, 2 years. So it'll be 2 years from when they're born to when they land on the ground again. The rest of the time they will spend flying high in the sky. They sleep in the sky. They do everything in the sky. They clean their wings in the sky. They are flyers. So hopefully you've had a good listen. And I've got some questions for you. They're true or false questions. Number one, they spend just 3 months in Britain from May to August. Is that true or false? They don't live very long, about 3 years. True or false? They spend the winter in the tropical rainforests of Africa. True or false? They only land to breed. True or false? Birds nesting in Britain have been found feeding over Germany. True or false? And they fly on average about 100 miles a day. Is that true or false? I'll give you a few moments just to think about that. Okay. Hopefully you listened well and you know that number one is true. They do spend about 3 months in Britain, maybe a little bit less. Number two, I don't know if I gave you the answer to this one. They don't live very long. That's not true either. They think they live about 20 years. Number three, they spend the winter in the tropical rainforests of Africa is true. They do. That's where they spend their time. They only land to breed is also true. Number five, birds nesting in Britain have been found feeding over Germany. That's true. They do fly massive, great distances to get food, and they will fly over the channel to get food and then fly back to the UK to feed their young. And so they fly on average about 100 miles a day. That's not true. They think it's more like 300 miles a day. So they can cover these vast distances. Yeah, they're amazing birds. But sadly, the swift, like lots of animals at the moment, are finding things tough. And the reason why that is, they think, is because swifts' favourite food, insects, flying insects, are in decline. So there has been a 51% decrease in their numbers since 1995. So that's they've halved. And how can we help? Well, there are lots of things that we can do. But on a personal level, the things that we can do is we can put up nest boxes. And in Kingswood, where we are, this is a great area to put them because there's a lot of swifts living here already. So it may encourage more to nest. If you search online, there are instructions on how to build swift nest boxes and also the best places to put them. So if you do have any spare time at the moment and you've got a grown-up that can help you, it might be worthwhile having a go at making a swift box. Also, making sure that there are habitats, places for insects to live. because of course they love to eat insects. So bug hotels are a good thing. Wildflowers, because they attract insects, and insects feed off the flowers. So there are things that we can do. But of course it is a problem, and it's something that is happening to lots of our birds in the UK. Lots and lots of them. Okay, so being resilient then, really the swift is one of the most resilient birds that we know. Incredible animals that live this lifestyle. They are lucky in a way because there are very few predators of the swift, and there's a few reasons why that is. One is they fly so high, but also because they're so fast. Very difficult to catch something that's flying so fast. If you never land on the ground, or if you only rarely land on the ground, there's not many things that are going to be able to eat you. So they are resilient birds who lead this incredible life where they fly huge distances, and they are at home when flying. So really resilient birds. Now, you at the moment, you children at home, you are showing great resilience because it cannot be easy doing what you're doing. So I am incredibly proud of you. I can't wait to see you all, and I know that will happen soon. So thank you for listening today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Take lots of care. Bye-bye.